This episode of WGW Today is being sponsored by MEI and Mouse Fan Travel. And hey, it's June, but we're already looking forward to a reunion in December of 2011. That's right, it's coming up very soon. And if you're going to be thinking about joining us for Reunion 2011, we'd love to have you there. And if you're going to be coming for a reunion, why not book with MEI and Mouse Fan Travel? I mean, sure, there may be some great rates and awesome customer service as they've always have. But the difference, though, is that also, in addition with booking with MEI and Mouse Fan Travel for a reunion, is that you're going to get the opportunity to book into our hard ticket events 24 hours before anybody else does. That's right. So MEI and Mouse Fan Travel customers get the opportunity to book into these hard events that usually sell out very quickly first. Check them out online at mousefantravel.com.
Bringing the world to your world, this is Walt Disney World Today. Here are Mike Scopa, Len Testa, Mike Newell, and your host, Matt Hochberg.
It's Wednesday, June 22nd, 2011, and this is episode 893 of WGW Today. I'm Matt Hochberg of StudiosCentral.com. And joining me on today's show is Mike Newell of Mouse World Radio. And Mike, I got to say,
yes,
you went on the Disney Dream inaugural cruise with Annette, or the press media cruise, I should say.
We didn't go together, but we were there.
You were there on the cruise,
yes.
And then you went on the Disney Dream again,
yes,
for another cruise,
yes.
Then even Mangello went on a cruise,
yes.
I'm telling you, I've got such cruise envy. I can't tell you what I kind of express them without using words that would get our podcast in deep trouble with iTunes.
Wow, let's keep a clean rating here at least. Anyway,
I need a cruise.
You're going, aren't you going soon?
September, but it's only June.
So,
but I want to go now.
now.
Also joining us on today's show is Mike Scopa, a senior feature writer and blogger for alleears.net. Welcome, Mike.
We are riding aboard a brand new concept in electric transportation.
The People Mover again?
People Mover again. Back to back, baby.
Nice. Wow, nice.
Baby.
And also joining us on today's show is Henry Work, a developer for touringplans.com and the host of the Beta Mouse podcast, which is at betamouse.net. Welcome to the show, Henry.
Thank you very much. Jeez.
It's true. We haven't really been saying that a lot, so you can't complain.
Henry! He did it again! Go over and give that neighbor of ours what for!
As someone who has to deal with Matty Cakes a lot, Henry, let me just tell you, you just get used to it after a while.
Dude, Matty Cakes is awesome. No, I wear my Henry badge without her.
I have a suggestion. If Emily's listening, there should be a Matty Cake available at Baby Cakes.
Let's hope she's not listening to the show.
Promotion.
I'll text her.
Great.
I'm sure it will be outstanding.
Your personal brand.
I'm sure it'll be so sweet.
Today it's Wednesday and we're answering your listener emails. Let's start with an email from Jono from Baston.
Baston?
Hey everyone. In an attempt to outgeek Len, or I guess Henry in this case, I thought I would share this with everyone. My family is 2 adults and 1 2-year-old. I kept all our receipts. The raw cost of food for us at Disney World for our recent trip is $473.52, including tax tip without our Tables of Wonderland discount. We spent $75 on Tables of Wonderland, which saved us $51.61. The card paid for itself because we had a few meals with my parents. We have another 12 months on the card and 2 more trips planned already. So either way, we will more than break even on it. Since we had 5 nights at Disney, we would have had to buy 5 days of the Disney dining plan, which would have cost $459.90, assuming we used our credits perfectly and tipped the same 18% that is built into the Tables of Wonderland. We would have spent an additional $169.22. Add in the plan, it would have cost $629.12. We would have used all of our credits and had to pay for some sodas and snacks out of pocket. Our 2-year-old was all out of pocket because you have to be 3 to get the child's meal plan. Bottom line, Tables of Wonderland, about $550, including the cost of the card, versus $630 on the Disney dining plan.
And a ton of flexibility.
Yeah, exactly, flexibility. So, John, you in a nutshell, you hit why our argument constantly.
He's won Disney World. He wins.
Very, very nerdy, and we approve. Respect, as Henry would say.
Respect.
If he was here. Next email is from somebody who didn't keep their name here, but whoever it was wrote, "Hello, I've been listening to the podcast since fall of last year, and one thing I've noticed is this time and time again, Mission Space is berated due to its replacing Horizon.
That's because it stinks.
I'm too young.
Jamie, where's that shovel? Get that bulldozer.
I'm too young to remember Horizons, as I was 12 when Mission Space opened, so that's what I grew up with, and I love that ride, as do my friends who are my age as well. Is it possible that Mission Space isn't as bad as some people claim to be? That Horizons wasn't as great as some of you remembered, and that it's purely nostalgia? What is honestly so bad about Mission Space? Look forward to more podcasts. It makes the year-long waits in between visits a little less painful."
I don't recall anyone ever throwing up on Horizons. I was just going to say that.
Not throwing up. I think they should blow it up.
I think Horizon, there is definitely a nostalgia factor to it. I do think Horizons was a fun attraction. I mean, I remember it. I think the biggest problem with Mission Space isn't that it replaced Horizons. I think Mission Space just wasn't as exciting or intriguing as an attraction as I think we wanted it to be, because it had a lot of hype coming with it. I mean, Henry, what's your take on Mission Space? I mean, do you like the attraction?
I do. I mean, I'm sure I went on Horizons, but I don't really remember it very much. I think just the real thing is just Horizons definitely sort of appeals to sort of this grand ambition inside of hardcore Disney fans. You know what I mean? It's a very ambitious attraction. It's talking about the future and where we're going and all this like inspirational progress stuff. And if I've done it fairly, I don't know. I can't really exactly remember. But Mission Space is just like, hey, you're trained to go to space, and you get it's an amazing concept, the feeling of flight of space travel. But I don't know, maybe it's just it doesn't sort of hit the same heart pangs, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fun attraction, but it's not going to make anybody's top 20 attractions in Disney World.
Yeah, it's weird. It does seem like the amount of money that they spend on it and how complicated it is technologically to pull off,
right,
isn't shown in the amount of people that are willing to wait for it.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Or that people are interested in. I don't know if that's an intensity thing or just maybe it's like a story thing. Maybe they could use the same technology, and if they did it a completely different storyline, it would hit people a lot better.
Right.
I don't know.
Next email is from Amanda Sadowski of Willoughby, Ohio. I was listening to your listener question show, episode 890, when an emailer talked about getting annual passes from the hotel on their room key.
Yes.
When I was there this past January, we were staying off property, but decided to go back to the park for one day. We stopped at Port Orleans French Quarter and bought a one-day pass. They were printed on the key to the World card. However, it did say on the bottom for park admission use only. We didn't try to use it for parking or extra magic hours. My guess is they actually looked at the ticket. We would not be able to get it. And you guys remember that email where someone got their annual pass on a room key?
Yeah.
And there was actually that person actually posted photos of it on the show notes of that episode. So, in the comments rather. So there's proof that, and a lot of other people have emailed us in saying that that's true. They've been able to get their room tickets on room keys, even though they've got their tickets have gone beyond the span of their stay. So, I guess you can get it if you want.
Well, the question never was room tickets. The question was the annual pass.
Yeah, no, he posted photos of it.
Right. No, I seen the photo, and it's actually really cool, and I was really glad to see that. But I think the real question was the AP as opposed to a 7-day hopper or
right.
That sort of thing, because we've all gotten that on our room keys, but it's the AP that I had never seen. And
yeah, you're right about that.
You spend that kind of money, you think they would give you a more sturdier card.
You would, except there's people like me. I go through probably
you lose them, yeah. But then
20 annual passes a year.
If that's the case, then I would charge you. I would say, listen, it's a $5 replacement fee.
Yeah. Well,
thanks, Hotchberg. You're ruining the hard tickets to the rest of us.
Yeah. Somehow, I think Disney's good for the money. I'm just saying, and they're not hurting that bad.
Well, the Disneyland ones are hard tickets, but they've gotten thinner over the years. People have noticed. Like the new ones are essentially like paper.
The APs.
Yeah.
What about the that ticket that does both parks?
The Premier.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice and sturdy.
Okay.
And it's shiny.
It should be. You're spending that kind of money. It should be.
Yeah.
It should be 3D.
It's actually a good deal. Like if you had previously done a premium for both, you're like I saved $300 a year now.
Wow. Nice. That's it. That's nice.
Yeah.
Next email is from Melissa in Colorado. Parker, Colorado, I should say. We're planning a big family trip to the world for Thanksgiving. I've been to the world about 6 times since 1988. I know, not impressive by your standards. And this time, we're trying out, for the first time, a Valley Resort. I've only stayed at Deluxe up till now. My husband, 2.5-year-old son, and I are staying at Pop Century Resort. Initially, my husband and I were leaning towards the 80s section purely because of theming. However, we definitely want a preferred room, and after hearing you discuss it on the show, it sounds like we should try to get a room close to the water so we can see illuminations and the Magic Kingdom fireworks. I would say our number one priority is the preferred room, then view the next priority, and then falling in third place. I want to make sure I make the right room request. Are there any preferred rooms on the water in the 80s section, or will it be more likely in the 70s or 60s? What's the best locale for a 2.5-year-old?
I'm trying to channel Len right now from Italy.
Here's the thing.
Scopy, I mean, you're Mr. Scopa Towers. Although
What were the 2 decades again, Matt? The 80s and the 70s?
Yeah, 80s, between the 80s, 70s, and 60s, she wants a room with a view.
I'm thinking, oh boy. Actually,
And they have a 2.5-year-old, Mike, if that factors into your considerations.
I'll tell you, Matt, I have seen Illuminations and Wishes from Pop Century, but it's been in the 50s. And I think it's building number, I don't know what the number is, but it's, if you go to the 50s, it's the as you enter the resort, it's the rightmost building. I remember being on the second floor, and I could watch Wishes and Illuminations at the same time. So I would say the 50s.
Okay. I like it. Newell, anything to add? As you've been staying at Pop Century more often than Scopa recently.
I think Mike was there when I saw that. I think that was Mousefest 2005 or 2006.
I have never had my own view from a Pop Century room at all, so I can't. I've never seen it except for Mike's room, but I don't remember where that was, Mike. That's the problem. I don't remember.
You're talking about a view of the lake.
Would that be facing to where the new animation suites would be?
Yeah, you would be facing towards that side. Yeah.
Okay. So that would be the 50s. You're right. Okay. Actually, Matt, when we did the live show last month, I had a room that was facing that lake, and the construction that was going over at that. I don't recall seeing anything there.
Yeah, I'm not sure. For theme park, I want to say it wasn't facing the right direction to see fireworks or anything like that. I mean, Epcot's the closest park. You might be able to see it over like the tree line, but I mean, to say that you're seeing fireworks, I mean, it's like you'd see like a stray firework here and there. You're not seeing the show by any stretch of the imagination. Right. This isn't like the boardwalk or something like that. So
you'll only be disappointed if you think you're going to see.
Yeah, you got to keep your expectations in line. If you want to see the fireworks from outside the park, you're going to have to go to a different resort. If you want to occasionally see something pop up in the air, yeah, you might get lucky there. Next email is from Nicholas. This isn't a listener question, but maybe some input for answering someone else's question. We hear lots of inquiries about off-property lodging. I'd like to suggest the area along Palm Parkway just north of the Crossroads Center is worth considering. There are mostly newer properties, and there are lots of places with suites. Homewood Suites, Quality Suites, Hawthorne Suites, Embassy Suites, plus Hilton Garden Inn, Residence Inn, Hampton Inn, and several others. I found good values there and pleasant properties. My favorite is the Homewood Suites, which is quite new. They are just up the block from the Orlando Vista, which Len likes to recommend.
Yeah, Palm Parkway has a lot of nice. I stayed there once. I stayed for the very first, I think it was 2005 Mouse Fest. I stayed on Palm Parkway.
Yeah, I stayed at the Embassy Suites there on Palm Parkway. Yeah. It's nice. It's very close. I mean, you're about, depending on how far down Palm Parkway you are, 1 to 2 traffic lights, probably 2 to 3 traffic lights from downtown Disney.
Yeah.
So it's very close to property. You're not really like hoofing it by any stretch of the imagination. I like the Embassy Suites. Yeah, the nice hotels there.
If you can get a good deal, that's not a bad place.
Yeah. Next email is from Michael from Los Angeles, California.
Dear Matt. Oh, I'm sorry.
Hello, fellow Disnerds. We'll be dining at the California Grill on an evening of Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party. I know they normally pipe in the Wishes soundtrack during fireworks, but do they play the Christmas recordings at the restaurant during the holidays? Also, what's the best strategy for prime viewing from the restaurant? I believe they do. I mean, Newell, you've eaten at Ohana's on party nights. Do they pipe the music in there?
I don't recall hearing Christmas music, but that
for Christmas wishes.
Yeah, I don't recall it. That doesn't mean it's not there. I just never heard it. That was Ohana too. He's talking about California Grill.
Yeah, I would imagine if they did for Ohana, they would do for California Grill as well. That was my logic there.
I honestly don't know.
Yeah, this is a question for Kim Knight, who eats there about once a week. I want to say yeah, but I don't want to promise you anything.
Yeah.
In terms of best strategy for prime viewing from the restaurant, I mean, if you get a table that's on the window, that's great. But they have a viewing area, a balcony, or not a balcony, whatever
outside,
it's called.
I call it a balcony.
Okay,
It's a balcony.
Yeah, you can go outside and watch the fireworks from over there.
Yep.
So don't worry if your table isn't ideal. You can still
Right. In fact, I recommend going outside anyway. It's a much cooler experience.
Yeah, unless you're right
I've
up.
been in like perfect viewing tables,
Right.
and I still went outside.
Next email is from Bob from Covington, Louisiana.
Oh,
I'm
Bob.
in the beginning stages of planning a trip to the world for December 2011, so I'm sending my question in now in the hopes of getting an answer before the trip takes place. Good strategy. I'm considering staying at the family suites in the upcoming Art of Animation Resort. I've never stayed at a Valley Resort before, and my understanding is that this tier resort gets pretty crowded in December due to Pop Warner. If we go before Pop Warner, we'll be knee-deep in Thanksgiving crowds. If we wait until Pop Warner's over, then it's knee-deep in Christmas crowds. If all that's true, is there any good week in December to stay at a Valley Resort where you can enjoy light crowds at both the hotel and the parks? If not, then my plan B is Fort Wilderness Cabin, so we can perhaps enjoy a less crowded resort and enjoy the holiday decorations as well. Big fan of the podcast and my heavily dog-eared and annotated good book. Thanks for all you do.
That's easy. I would go between the 16th and the 23rd of December.
Agreed. That week is really nice. Yeah.
Yeah, because no one's taking off that week because everyone gets the next week off for Christmas. So
Right.
it's like, why take off a week if you're going to get a built-in week off? Or you can come like a couple weeks, I think a week earlier, and you can come join us for a reunion. Either way, it's win-win. Next email is from Jonathan from Gibbonsville, North Carolina. My family and I are planning to attend the World the first and second week of December of 2011. I was wondering how necessary and how far in advance should I get ADRs? I seriously doubt I'll need to get ADRs 180 days prior for most restaurants, but what's a realistic time period before to be able to get prime seating for that time of the year? What do you think, Scopa? First 2 weeks of December. I mean, what's your recommendation for ADR reservation?
I would say, I don't know, I would say July or August I would start. The earlier you begin calling, the more options you would have. I'm not saying that if you waited till October, November, that you wouldn't get the ADRs that you want. You would not get the ADRs for the day and the hour that you may want. So that's the thing. The closer you get, the options begin to dwindle, and the flexibility that you would normally have, like right now, July and August for June, July, and August for December, you're not going to have that flexibility come October, November. So I'd say right around July 4th, I would start making the calls.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head, Mike. It's not a matter of getting in; it's a matter of getting in at the time you want.
Right.
Next email is from Monica and Jerry Frankson of Clovis, California. Is that near you, Henry?
And
Wait, Clovis?
Clovis.
I'll look it up. I don't recognize it.
Okay. Anyway, last year our family learned that Camp Minnie Mickey opens 1 hour after Animal Kingdom opens. During our trip, the park opened at 9 a.m., so we arrived at the character trails at 10 a.m. We were able to take photos of each of the characters in no time. Our family is planning a trip for November, and our Animal Kingdom Day has extra magic hours and opens at 8 a.m. Do you know if Camp Minnie Mickey opens at 9 a.m. or 10 a.m. with the early extra magic hours? We'd like to get there right away so that the queues are short. Henry, I think you're the only person who goes to Animal Kingdom these days. Do you have?
Have you ever even been to Camp Minnie Mickey?
We've walked through and got lost trying to find the exit.
That is a great question. I have no idea. My guess is that it's still 10 a.m. Does anyone else have a guess? I don't know the operational schedule of the character trails, unfortunately.
Yeah, the character trails are a little. I mean, characters in
They
general
don't publish
are
it, right? I mean, they'll publish it in the show guides.
right.
I'll look it up and I'll get back to you. 1 second.
Yeah, the characters are different from the attractions. Like attractions are what they open up, especially for extra magic hours. But characters are totally different, and generally speaking, it's not the case.
I do see that it's even when they have extra magic hour morning for this week, it is 10 a.m.
Okay, yeah, that's what I figured.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Next email is from Brett in New Hampshire. Cousin Mickey doesn't talk about on the boards. For years, the unofficial guide weighed in at 864 pages. Then in 2010, it's expanded to a hearty 880 pages. In 2011, it's back down to 864. Gasp, it's shrinking. What happened? Did someone get carpal tunnel syndrome? Did Bob find he was unable to lift the 880-page version? All right, Henry, spill the beans. What happened?
I have no idea.
Who was omitted?
I didn't notice that.
Somebody was left out.
Seen a number of touring plans. Trying to think, they must have chopped a few pages.
Is
I mean, every
SeaWorld
year
still in
it may not be like specific things.
It's-
Sometimes is SeaWorld still in?
Yeah, like SeaWorld or Universal. I thought I had heard.
Harry Potter was expanded for sure.
Right.
Smaller font.
It expanded from from harmless to mostly harmless.
We still have a little bit of a SeaWorld section. I think, but like cumulatively every year, just as you update text, sometimes entire paragraphs can be obsolete. So paragraphs go up and down.
And the intro gets rewritten. I mean, it's not going to be 12 pages, but Len likes to rewrite some things from time to time.
Yeah.
Good. This is Newell. This show has become Stump the Chump with Henry.
Wow. With who?
Yeah.
Henry.
Chump.
Give that neighbor of ours 1-4. I'm planning to take around. Next email's from Amanda, I should say.
Amanda.
From Euless, Texas. Aurora 3000 on the boards.
Woo.
I'm planning to take the Around the World Segway tour at Epcot in September and have a few questions about the tour. If I take the 7:45 a.m. tour and the park opens at 9, will the buses run or do I need to arrange my own transportation?
That's a good question.
I know the transportation, I believe, starts running about an hour before park opening. Unless it's extra magic hours, obviously, then it's going to be a little earlier than that. They don't say where they're staying. My recommendation is to provide your own transportation to ensure you show up there on time. Newell, have you done the Segway tour at Epcot yet?
Not at Epcot, no.
I know Len has done it.
I've done it. Sorry, can you repeat the question?
If I take the 7:45 a.m. tour and the park opens at 9, will buses run or do I need to arrange my own transportation?
They typically run an hour and a half before, right?
What is
I think you got to do your own.
Yeah, I would do my own just for just to be safe. Because even if they did, an hour, it's not going to help you. In 90 minutes, you're going to be cutting it really close.
And it's an expensive tour, but I do recommend doing the first one if you can get there. It's kind of cool. It's like, it's kind of a. I see the Segway tours going through after like World Showcase opens. If you do one of the later tours, right. I just feel like it's less magical. It's better to have it all to yourself.
Cool. Next email is from Jeremy Muse. Got a question. If you went to Disney World once a year, would the dining plan be worth it to you? On episode 755, Len talked about the food not being worth what you pay, which I agree. My family only goes once a year, sometimes once every 2 years, and there are quite a few restaurants that we enjoy going to, which makes the plan worth it in savings as well as convenience. Over the last couple of years, I've strongly disagreed with the team when it comes to your opinions on the dining plan. Then I took a step back. If I went every 3 to 4 months, I would not need to go on the fancy restaurants in one trip, visit quick service more, and possibly eat a quick meal in my room before going to the parks, making the dining plan worthless. Thanks for the great show. I'm intrigued to hear your response. I don't think our opinion of the dining plan is based on how often we go. I think it's the simple fact that it's a lot of food, and the price has gone up over the years, and the value has gone down over the years. It's as simple as that. It doesn't matter if you're going once a year, once every 5 years. And, you go back to that first email, Jeremy, from the top of the show. I mean, you can see it's just simple math, and you have to do the math. We cannot – it would be wrong of us, I think, to say blanketly the dining plan is wrong for everybody. It is right for a lot of people, but it's not right for a lot of people as well. You have to do the math. You have to figure out what's the best deal. Don't forget to factor in how much you're saving – or how much you're paying rather for your room if you're doing a package, if it's like free dining or something like that. You have to do the whole math. It's not just a single item there, and that's what we always pray. Please do the math. Don't just blindly assume the dining plan is a good value. That's the bottom line. I think we always try to go to.
And to add to that, Matt, even when we talk about the free dining, I recall many times we've had this conversation, and Len chimes in and says that the free dining is not really a bargain once you get, you almost break even right around the moderates, but you really can sense some type of a value if you're doing free dining with the value. But if you're doing free dining with a moderate, it's like maybe you're breaking even. So that's another thing with free dining too.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, free dining is another thing. And regardless, it doesn't matter if it's free dining or just the regular dining plan. You have to do the math because it's your money. And, I don't think anyone here wants to spend more money than they have to. Then there's the whole convenience factor, but that's a secondary factor to it. I mean, really, you got to figure out if it's going to save you any money because otherwise, why would you do it in the first place?
Right.
Next email is from. Oh, go ahead, Henry.
Yeah. So the one thing I would say, I do agree that as you go more often, that your trips become less structured. I know, when I was going, much less frequently now that I do because it's related to work. I would meticulously plan pretty much the entire trip all the way down to ADRs. I went for a crazy long trip in May and I didn't book like any ADRs because I was doing, my plans would change often. So I would say that does make a little sense. Like, if you go more often or if you're going for special events, for example, your days won't be as rigid. So the appeal of the fact that you have to eat a certain amount just to make up, becomes less. That's why I love Tables in Wonderland. It's just like, I could go 4 days without eating a table service. And then when I do, I'm saving money.
Right. Again, you have to do the math. It's a very personal thing. It varies from person to person. And that's really the bottom line. And yes, it can save some people some money. You're absolutely right. We're never going to say that it doesn't. You just have to do the math. Next email is from Lee from Houston. I have a trip planned for spring break, so hopefully I'll be hearing the answer to my question on air before my 18-plus hour drive from Houston in March. Sorry, Lee. There'll be 10 of us traveling, and I wanted to know if it'd be worth it for one of us to invest in an annual pass. Would I be able to pay for both rooms with my annual pass discount that is offered? It also seems worth it to pay for the Tables in Wonderland card since we could be saving off a tab for 10. And of course, you need an annual pass to get the Tables in Wonderland card. Yeah, I believe with your annual pass discount, you can get. I know you can definitely get 2 rooms. Back in the day, Scope, then it used to be like 5 rooms.
It used to be. I believe it used to be 2 rooms plus your own.
Right.
Now I think you can book. I think you can book a second room. And this is when it'd be good to have Annette here.
I got to think it's at least 2.
You can book up to 2 separate rooms. I did it for a trip last summer when I went with my family and they didn't have annual passes. Just make sure that you're checking at the same time, or at least if you're not, that you're there with your annual pass at the time that they check in.
Yeah. And regarding the Tables in Wonderland, you're right. You can use it for 10 people. That's fine. Well, actually, I should take that back. I've heard it. Sometimes I've had situations where they've only honored it for up to 8 people.
8, yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It really varies from person to person. I know that Newell, you and I we've gone during Star Wars weekends, and we always have during the first Star Wars weekends we go to Mama Melrose for lunch, and there's always a group of 20 or 30 of us, and they have made us think about it sometimes. And other years they just don't care. As long as somebody has the card, that's fine. So it's kind of up to the manager who's on duty. And the other thing is, if you're going to split the check, you're out of luck. Everyone needs their own card if that's the case. But if you got for 10 people all on one check, right, that can be less of an issue.
Right.
But the 8 people thing you got to keep in mind, Lee.
It's always good to ask. Sometimes I've asked and they said, no, we don't have Tables of Wonderland, but if you have an annual pass, we'll give you 10%. So sometimes they'll give you a discount that you really weren't even expecting.
Great point. By the way, Lee adds, this is Lee from Houston, and you did an episode number 628, the All Lee Show for me. Yeah. I almost ran off the road when I heard the name of the episode, and we will be doing Whispering Canyon, Crystal Palace, Animation Academy, and Kim Possible, among many other suggestions, tips I picked up from listening to your podcast. Thanks for everything y'all do.
Nice.
Thanks, Lee. How are we doing on time, Newell?
Last one.
I'm back now, yeah.
Last one. All right. Last email today is coming from... Actually, I don't know who it's coming from. It's time for Mike Newell to choose who our last email today is from. And that means I'm going to give Mike Newell 3 emails to choose from. One gets read today. The other 2 go back into the email queue to be answered later. Ready, Mike?
Let's boogie.
Okay. Your options are manipulating the guests.
Uh-oh.
What? Excuse me. Sorry. Wait? Is that me? Or... I can't believe the junk you all bring.
Let's do the wait, or whatever.
Wait, is that me?
Whoa. What was it?
Wait? Is that me?
What?
Oh,
what?
yeah. When?
What?
Who's on first?
What?
Wait. Who?
What's on second?
What?
I don't know who's on third.
Why?
What?
Why?
Who? What?
Last email of the day is from Bridget Swart of Gainesville, Virginia.
Yeah.
First, the obligatories love the podcast, long-time listener. So a funny thing happened to me the other day. This past weekend, I excitedly ordered my copy of the unofficial guide, Color Companion to Walt Disney World. Ding. I opened the box and started flipping through all the awesome photographs in the book.
box?
And then, much to my delighted surprise, I flipped to page 54 and saw a picture of me and my daughters riding Dumbo in our ponchos.
What?
I was shocked. I looked at the picture about 15 times to make sure I was seeing it correctly. I even asked my kids if I was crazy. This was really a spectacular surprise, especially because I have no recollection of submitting the photograph, although I'm...
Lawsuit.
I was just thinking that.
So, my question is really for Len. Can you refresh my
Yes, it
memory
is.
and explain how this happened? Was there a blog posting asking for photos? Was there something on the website, book, etc.? Thanks for helping me with my Alzheimer's moment and making me and my family feel amazingly special.
Sign the release.
I think Len was just creepily walking around the park taking pictures of people.
I do know that Len has they hire a photographer to take photos. I'm wondering. I don't have the book in front of me, otherwise I would look at this. And obviously, Len's not here to answer for himself.
What is it? The Color Companion?
Yes,
I have that right in front of me. Hold on.
54. Some
Yeah, I'm trying to find my copy.
went on Dumbo with their
See,
kids.
I always
in
keep my
ponchos.
book handy right in front of me. 54.
So, describe the photo. Is it like a photo? Is it like a wide shot, and they happen to be in the shot, or is it like a photo head dead on of?
Oh
them?
yeah, no, it's them centered right into There's two little girls and Melissa, and it's obviously raining. It's centered right on them, and they're smiling for the camera, so it almost looked like they're posing for this picture.
So the photo is like of them.
Yeah, it's definitely of them.
Okay. I mean, Henry, do you remember there was a submission process, or maybe they just were
I
in the
don't. That was sort of before my time, but I mean, I know they had lots of photographers submit stuff, both that they sought out photographers specifically to task them with this, but also a huge outpouring of photos from the Disney sort of photography community.
Right. What I would recommend,
So-
actually, if you really want to figure it out,
Email Len.
email Len at touringplans.com.
Yep.
And ask for a check.
Well, once she gets her check back, her huge millions of dollars, I'm sure she'll get from Len. Our sponsor for today's episode is MEI and Mouse Fan Travel, and now you'll be able to afford that trip for a reunion.
Woo!
But you know what? You don't need the millions of dollars or the buyout from Len to afford a trip to reunion, because MEI and Mouse Fan Travel has great rates for reunion 2011. And that's coming up in December. I know it's June. We just had the first day of summer yesterday, but guess what? Now every single day is getting a little bit closer to reunion. And now's your time. Perfect opportunity to book that reunion 2011 trip and join us. Henry will be there, right, Henry?
Word.
That's right.
Totally there.
We have a cage for him all picked out. You're gonna be able to poke him with a stick. It's really great. We're looking forward to those meets.
Wow.
Thanks, Archibald.
But if you want to be part of a reunion, come check us out and book with Amy and Mouse Fan Travel. All the details for booking can be found at mousefantravel.com. Don't forget, also, this Sunday is our live show, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Join us with our special guest, Deb Wills from allears.net. Going to be a lot of fun, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. All the details are going to be at wgwtoday.com. For Len Testa, Mike Scopa, Mike Newell, and Henry Work, I'm Matt Hotchberg. We'll see you on the next show.
Stupid Judy, stupid energy.
This has been a production of Mouse World Radio.